Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. It seems that you've caught me playing with Diceself. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and whatever time zone it is, whether you in the world, it is your Lord and Saviour, with episode 5 of season 3 of the Playing With Diceself podcast, where this sad British goth boy plays TTRPGs by himself, the TTRPG in question being Cyberpunk RED, the role-playing game of the near dark future. And unlike other previous seasons, where we have used homebrew rules of my own creation, we are mostly going to be using the official rules for Cyberpunk RED single player mode, a solo play guide and game master emulator for Cyberpunk RED, and this is a review copy generously gifted to me by Aurtakis Games themselves, so thank you ever so much, you absolutely goated mad lads. What happened in the previous episode? Well, in many ways, not a lot, but in some ways, quite a lot, because we're actually going to go on a heist, because whilst we were recovering in hospital, we were visited by a fixer called Satoshi, who was a representative of the Kang Tao military organisation, who have been putting out an EP album thing as a diss track essentially, and they've caught wind of what we're doing somehow because we're a fucking idiot, that's how. And in the previous episode I had this idea that they were going to be Chinese, because you know Kang Tao is a Chinese military arm, but at this point in Cyberpunk's history they're sort of in collaboration of sorts with Arasaka, who are Japanese, and Satoshi is, to my understanding, a Japanese name, so I think I'm going to retcon that decision a little bit and say that Satoshi is actually a representative of Arasaka, but is posing as somebody from Kang Tao, because I think that would work for somebody that's as stupid as our rocker boy Butterjoy, or Peter to his parents, probably, mayhap, because you may also remember in the episode prior to that, we actually killed our nomad boss, so we might actually get into a bit of trouble further down the line. Now, as part of this heist, we are going to Heywood docks to rescue the media that we neglected or outright ignored and left to die in the second episode, because in the Heywood docks it's ruled by two mafia gangs who we thought at one point we're going to have a connection to our family debt, but they're not, but they do have some beef with our family, so it's basically a shoot on sight regarding our Butterjoy. So this is a very dangerous situation for us, but we need the money to pay rent. I know, we're working with the enemy just to make ends meet. It's almost like we're playing a game of Cyberpunk or something. Now, as part of that, we decided that this is going to be a heist in two parts. Satoshi and Co, who we've yet to decide, like other like edge runners and the like, we're going to be having a negotiation with the Skivs about releasing the media, but they need some sort of high-tech distraction to make it as smooth as possible, or a contingency plan or whatever, as well as retrieving some information about the Skivs that Kang Tao / Arasaka could use against the Skivs to make their life a living hell if they're not wanting to play ball, which is why the media is coming into play here. So we are not looking for the media, we are just finding out the information and just using that as a bit of a bargaining chip sort of thing, which is where the Netrunner comes in. And I've prepared some Netrunner stats for our little heist, which has just ended up on the floor. Now, I actually came up with these stats in a previous video in my Cyberpunk RED and 2020 NPC Quick Hack generation method, which is going to be on the card right now, but it's also going to be in a link in the description below, so you can come up with NPCs super fucking quick that I don't think Aurtakis Games or anybody else has done as of yet, because I'm absolutely fucking goated. But before we get onto the heist proper, there is the matter of experience points that we need to have a good little conversation about. Purely because I didn't exactly do a lot in the previous session, and also it's been about a fortnight since I've recorded the last part, so my hazy memory is a lot more hazy than it has been usually. So, coming over to the playstyle improvement point stuff, what sort of grouping do we come under here? I suppose it's role-playing, which I don't suppose really counts all that much, and socialising, because there was really nothing else. We didn't really explore anything, didn't really fight anybody. Let's have a look on the socialiser table and see how much improvement points we can actually come round and get round to assigning to ourselves. So, was a supportive and helpful part of the party in or out of the game? Well, that doesn't really count much. Supportive actions are helpful maintaining... Oh, this is all to do with supportive stuff. I did not foresee this. Well, alright. Fair enough. I don't think it'll be particularly fair to me not to get some experience points, so I'm just giving myself 10. So our 40 IP is now going up to 50. What if I was to try and increase the melee weapon? I think for skills it actually shoots up quite a lot at this point. Typical skill improvement, which is what this is, 50. Oh, well, we need 100. Yeah, that's not happening. Oh, yeah, I remember saying that in the previous episode. Is there anything that we can increase by a rank here? I wonder. No. Awesome, that's fine. We can just keep collecting up in increments of 10 if need be. And one other thing I want to show off before we start getting into the thing proper, I have collected various different DLCs that I'm likely going to be using in this solo campaign and private solo ones elsewhere in this nice little ring binder. I don't know how well it's going to show, but we've got like this little segment here which is just filled with stuff, and all these blank ones just in case the other things come along, because I could print the whole fucking lot out if I want to, but I don't really need it, honestly. So I've got what I need, including the Atlas, because that's something I feel that I'm going to be referring to a lot, which I feel actually I'm going to be using right now, so I can remind ourselves about the Heywood docks, so we can get a bit of an idea about the sort of environment that we're walking into. And it's also worth keeping into consideration that we are just leaving this like dust storm that was going on at the time, only because it may affect some of the conditions when we're going into our heist, because I don't think this is going to be happening right now. Okay, you're healed, let's fucking go. They'll probably want to prepare some things first. But let us not get too carried away with things here. Let us try and find the Heywood docks. Heywood docks. As the world returns to normal, corporations are looking to cut the nomad nations out of the shipping and logistics equation. Larger vessels can't use the Heywood docks, but smaller corporate-sponsored ships move up and down the west coast can. City manager Andrea Lee, appointed by SK Security, security provider SK Security, and gained President Deadwood and the Skin family. The green box storage unit is technically a storage facility, but customers have been known to live inside the units. Fair enough, and we don't actually have that much information about the docks itself present here. Just a lot of other areas around Heywood and the industrial zone. But we know from looking in previous bits in the Atlas, and I think on the wiki as well, it's the Skiv that basically have got the whole fucking thing under hood. So, that's absolutely fine, because we can use other oracles to determine what exactly is going on. So the first thing I think we need to ascertain a little bit before we get into the heist is to work out whether we are going to be going straight into the heist, as I said, like, okay, you're good, you're better, let's fucking go, or we're going to do it later on at night. I think it would make sense to do things at night so we can be sneaking around with our Netrunner, who we also need to decide on a name and a handle and all of the rest of that stuff as well. So, but first things first, are we going to be doing this at night? I think that is almost certain, because I can't see why they'll do this in like the active day. Although them doing it in the actual day would certainly make things very interesting and spicy. So let us do a D100 roll and say that it is certain. 29, which gives us the result of, yes, with a complication. Of course I'm going to be starting at the first roll with a complication. The complication means to me that they were going to have to be really fucking quick. That something's amiss, that something's going on, that we don't have much time to do this, which obviously makes sense because like a negotiation, obfuscating, sneaking around thing. But I'm going to use some of the verbs and noun adjectives to try and work out exactly why and see what we can come up with. Let's just start with the verbs and do a D100 roll. We've got 45, which is going to give us the result of harass. That doesn't sound good. Not good at all. 45 with the noun. What can we come up with for the noun rather verb? Now, you know what I'm trying to say here. So, 63 gives us a memory chip. Harass a memory chip. Not getting anything for that, so what if we made 63 36? 36 gives us the result of exec, short for executive. Probably at the very bare basic means of like, well, the security thing that I've mentioned, that we don't have a lot of time, we've got like a set number of time to do. It's like, actually, let's go with minutes, let's make this real fucking spicy. I'm going to roll a D100 and see how many minutes we'll be allowed to do all of this mission in. Rolled 100, so I'm going to give that just... We're going to say that about 90 minutes, because I think you've got 100 minutes exactly. No, fuck it, let's go for 100 minutes. Let's not retcon this too much. We have 100 minutes, so just over an hour to do all of this. That being said, I don't think we're going to be using all that time anyway. In-game, that is. Now we come on to our Netrunner PC. We're going to decide on their handle first to work out who the fuck they are. So, let's come over to the D100 handles table. That's on the table, that don't count. That gave us a result of 85, which is speed. I like that for a Netrunner, because we did ascertain in the NPC Quick Hack video that they got some chunky stats, even though I kind of did it incorrectly. They clearly got their shit together. So speed, I'm going to do that with something else just to pair them up together. And 78, speed punish. Doesn't quite fit well. Punish speed. If I made that 87, what would that be? Didn't you just roll that? Stick speeds. Nah, don't like that. I'm going to roll it again. 39. Speed bullet. Bullet speed. Bullet speed, the Netrunner. I love that. That sounds so fucking cool. But they are just that fucking good. Just getting in there and just in and out, barely touching the sides. And whilst we're here, I'm going to decide on the expensive cyberware that they have, because that was something else that I kind of decided in the NPC Quick Hack video that I directed you lot to go and watch. So if you haven't watched that, go and watch that now. So let us see the expensive cyberware that they have.
2 very boring minutes later.
Honestly, I think the thing that makes most sense here for expensive cyberware is a cyber deck. You know, being a Netrunner and all. But we also know of their weapons and such, which I don't need to like conjure up names for, because I don't really care for that at this time. So yeah, they've got a cyber deck, which gives us some little perks here. I'm actually going to write down the page number for that so I can find that on a whim. But yeah, we're sort of good to go here regarding our Bulletspeed Netrunner, and I don't think they would be willing to give the name up to Butterjoy, you know, as they're a really good Netrunner. They want to give that away to somebody that they don't trust. But you never know. I'm going to roll that anyway. Are they going to tell us our real name when we go about asking them? Because, you know, Butterjoy is a bit of a fucking idiot that will just ask these things just to be really fucking friendly, which is part of their personality. I'm going to say, given how well versed they are on the name and everything else that we're sort of talking about, I'm going to say it's impossible. Just completely flip the script here. 78, which is basically no with a complication. What would that be? The idea that I have brewing in my mind right now is that actually then they don't have one. They won't say it because that is the name they've been given, Bulletspeed. Like some sort of test tube baby sort of thing, like designed by Aurtakis or Kang Tao. We'll go with Kang Tao here. It's like designed by Kang Tao to be as a service Netrunner. I think that'd be a very interesting little plot point. But I don't know how realistic that would be for Cyberpunk's RED setting to do that. So, in the system of fairness, I'm actually going to say that is unlikely. But I think it'll be pretty fun to try and work out what that may be. All the same. So we rolled the result of 56, which is complicated. Interesting. I was hoping for something a bit more definitive than that, but complicated. So that to me says it's a bit of both. They came from a regular family and their growth was accelerated. to quickly get them up to speed so they're able to do the net running shit that they need to do. So really, in theory, Bulletspeed is just one of many people out of the world who doesn't have a life, that their life is just net running. Actually, now that I think about it, in 2025, there's a whole row of people up in space where they were genetically growing people that are a bit more intelligent and whatnot. So I think the technology is definitely down here, if not better. But I think that's what they're doing. They're just taking children and just accelerating their growth. Now, I don't know if that is something that Kang Tao are doing, but this is my fucking iteration of the game, and that's what we've decided. And quite frankly, that's fucking dark. Who else are we actually going to be doing this with? Because we've got Satoshi, who's going to have a fixer. So who is a fixer? Who's going to have somebody else with them, and then we're going in with Bulletspeed, and Satoshi is going to have additional people to back them up as well, because this is like a big operation sort of thing, and we're just being set in there to do this little task. So if we just find the roles here, just to give us some idea of what we're going to be dealing with here. So D10. 1. An executive. Well, that makes sense, that this is a collaboration between the executive that's allowing us access in here. That they just need... That actually just adds a lot of like political business layers to it, that they're fucking fed up of the gangs controlling the area and they want to push them out. And they hired Kang Tao to push them out. And they're using us as the leverage, you know, finding all the data and whatnot. Wow, this has added so many different layers to this. And the real fun thing about this is that Butterjoy is never going to find out most of this. So it's night, and we're driving down in our big Militech vehicle, because I'm pretty sure that would have been the insisted mode of transportation, just because it's a bit more detached than everything else. But it's also big enough to mean that we mean fucking business here. And with Satoshi having that all in mind, like, he would insist that we take the nice car down. So I imagine it like we're sitting at the front, got Bulletspeed behind us, the executives behind us, whose name we should probably work out, because I feel an executive here wouldn't be using such like edge runner handle sort of thing. I imagine them being female presenting for some reason, so we'll just go with that. That's going to be a D100 roll. 4. Alice. That's fair. Didn't we have somebody else called Alice already? I don't know, but anyway, the executive Alice, Satoshi, Netrunner, and I'm pointing that side to my left because British passenger side should really be doing that side. Whatever, you know what I mean. Like passenger seat, Netrunner, and then we're the one driving the car being real calm about it. And I imagine that really silly little thing. Are we in the front of this like big old queue with all these cars and things, or are we at the back? Just to have an idea of... I think it would make more sense that, my mind at least, if I was organising all of this, I would have had the players, the edge runners, and they were going in to do the obfuscating, sneaking stuff. I'd have them in the back, so having all the official people at the front, like, could use like to mask them up. But as it's Satoshi and the executive Alice that are going to be doing all the chunk for conversation, I think it's going to be more likely that we're at the front of the fucking queue. So let's go with likely. 69. Nice. What does 69 get us? Yes, we are at the front. Lovely stuff. So we're at the front of the queue, we're driving, and imagine like the rear mirror, or whatever the equivalent of that car would be. I'd imagine in the fucking 2045 it would be like a digital screen, and we can like have a bit of a wider view around us. Nothing's mentioned in black chrome with that sort of wide view, but being a military vehicle, I would not be surprised if there's like a big old fucking display down there on the dashboard rather than up there, showing us how far things are. Maybe like a split screen showing us a bit more out of front or whatever. I'm not wanting to make like this too OP driving down there. So we should probably work out whether our Netrunner is mask or femme presenting. So I'm going to roll, that's a D100 but whatever. Evens means that they're femme presenting. They've got 40, so they are... I'll just write down she, her, but I think if anybody is going to be non-binary in this cast, it's going to be Bulletspeed, because the concept of gender is going to be completely useless for what is essentially a net running lab. So we're driving along. I imagine the two, we've gone through all the different plans at the back. We've been introduced to everyone. Satoshi's like, probably before we got into the car, honestly, like, this is Alice. This is our Netrunner, Bulletspeed, one of the finest Netrunners you'll ever be able to work with. And I reckon as we're going to be working directly with them and not doing much of the executive scumbag, as it were, I will be like polite and calm and like, hi. It's like, he wants to talk a bit more with Bulletspeed into the car. It's like, we should probably work out their demeanour just to see whether they tolerate us all that well. And there's an emotions chart here, I think. So we're going to go to page 56 to get the NPC mood, just to give us the general sort of demeanour. Now, in my mind, I think they're being quite neutral, but it'll be very interesting to see just how much emotion is there, if they're going to be simulating any emotion at all. Actually, that'd be a good question for the Oracle, would it not? Okay, well, we'll ask the Oracle first and do it as a 50-50. Yes, meaning that they're simulating some form of emotion. That they had emotion programmed or bred into them rather than having, like, muted out them. They can do English. So that is a 70, which gives us... Yes. Okay, so how are they feeling? How are they expressing themselves at the moment? Going back to page 56... 37 gives us the result of curious. Naturally, I think that they're curious about us because we're so colourful and bright, and whilst we're clearly nervous about what's going in there, that they're curious about our optimism to get shit done. Because I imagine Bulletspeed is like so used to being around like more corporate schmucks, as it were, all very serious and like not wanting to exhibit that much emotion, that being sent out on a mission with something so colourful and bright, who's got like shaved head and like this kanji script written into the side of their head that says cunt, but they think it says pride, which now actually makes me think, as another bit more of world building, we will get onto this heist proper in a moment. All of this is very important stuff. Can Satoshi read our kanji, like, glowing hair script? I think it's likely because we've ascertained they're Japanese and the kanji script and all the rest of it. So I'm actually going to be a bit more uncertain than that. Yeah, I'm going to say it's certain. Because fuck it, why not? Because I think let's see what we get. We get 25 on a certain. Means... Yes, with a complication. What could be possibly complicated about being able to read that? The thing that's come to my mind is that the executive can read that as well. And I think Satoshi, without everything, has forgotten to mention that they've hired... they've hired this rocker boy who's so carefree and flimmy. He's not really taking this as seriously as they would like, because he's just very excited just to get money and a gig, and you know what, despite being very nervous about the whole thing. And it's going to make him look bad. So something that he's just overlooked, I guess, which I don't think is going to be brought up to their faces at this point. Perhaps if it goes badly, it might. I'll have to make a mental note of that, perhaps. We'll see how things pan out. Was then asked the question, can Bulletspeed read the kanji script? I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't be, so I'm just going to go with 50-50. 27. No, with a complication. And I think actually that feeds into the curious nature of things, because I think most people just see that it's like sort of like Japanese script thing, and I don't think a lot of people just care enough to ask. But we're sitting in the driver's seat, not much going on, just like the hum of the car as we're driving along. And I think Bulletspeed would just sort of like lean over and just ask at one point, you know, I like the design in your head. Like, what does it say? Like, oh, thanks, it says pride. And just the two of them in the back just looking at each other. The executive just firing icy daggers at Satoshi. And Bulletspeed will just retort with, pride? What's about? Are you prideful about? Oh, no, it's not like that, because you see, I'm bisexual. And, you know, the queer pride stuff, you know? Oh. Does Bulletspeed aware of this? I think we're sort of building them, they're being very inexperienced on a social level, and I think we could have a little bit of fun with that. Are they aware of that? I think, not to make them totally inept and like unaware of these sorts of things, because I think especially within the cyberpunk setting, the corporation would be a lot more fucking corporate with the pride stuff, like pride-coloured guns and all the rest of it, that sort of thing, like the good old American way. So, 40 gives us on a 50-50 is the top end of complicated. Which makes me think that they've sort of been made to feel a certain way about that sort of thing. Or they're unsure what to think about it, because again, not really interacting with a lot of people, just shut away in their little fucking cryo chamber, like, test tube sort of stuff. So I think they've heard about it, but they're just a bit unsure. But I don't think that they will then follow that up to us, just, like, showing intensive understanding. But do we notice them being confused by all of this? So let's just go with human perception. I'm going to just say this is, like, the standard 13 difficulty. So for us, unless we get a 1, we already passed this. So let's roll our D10. 7, which takes us up to 20. So yeah, we sort of noticed that they're a bit confused by that. And I think not having any... Actually, what's their call? It's above average of 6. I think they'll realise that they seemed a bit confused by all of this. And I think having some self-restraint, they sort of like lean in a little bit. So it basically means I like guys and girls and everything else in between. It's why I'm dressed this way. And he like gestures towards his colourful outfit. I just like to show off, like, it's part of my identity, so just like make that part of my act. And it's really important to me. And I saw a great barber, and I get it done all the time. And I think with that he uses his tech hair just to make it illuminate with the bisexual colours. And then it just goes back to that teal and like gold thing. The Bulletjoy is just like sitting there and just nodding away about it. And I think at this point he gets a bit crass and like, have you not heard of that before? So Bulletjoy, will they be honest about it? I think they might be a bit shy at this point, put on the spot, I guess. But we're coming in with this a bit more of a trusting environment, so I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's unlikely because they don't want to come off as like rude or stupid, particularly the fact that they are a Netrunner and they've been hired by this company to do this sort of thing. Well, hired, So yeah, let's roll on unlikely and see if they just lie about it. That is 76, which gives us yes. So yeah, they're just going to be honest and said, yeah, I don't really have a lot of experience with that sort of thing, honestly. But if it makes you happy, then that's really good. Oh, thank you. And I think they're just a bit taken aback by just the politeness of it all. And he's just sitting back and driving like, how did they not know about this sort of thing? And maybe because he's so used to being like queer environments and things that it just seems a bit. Maybe people don't know about the different sexualities, that people just think it's like gay or lesbian. And now I'm sort of reflecting upon this myself, honestly, because I'm just so used to being around queer people. Like, do people know that bisexual people exist? Do people know that pansexual people exist? I don't know. Straight people, if this is a new thing to you, let me know in the comments below. And I think there's just like this weird curiosity just going on. Just like, one's curious about the bright, bold colours of this individual who's like so carefree and haphazard with things. And Butterjoy is just thinking about, wow, they just don't know it's a thing. Or maybe they're just so okay with themselves that they just don't care about like the whole queer thing in such a sense that they don't identify themselves. Like, there's just so many different thoughts going around in the head about all of that. And I think as we're driving nearer the Heywood docks, I think we're going to deploy the weather chart just to see what the environment that we're dealing with here. Because remember, earlier today we had a dust storm. It didn't last the whole day because we said it was only going to last for like 10 or so minutes. So let us come over to the weather. And we said it's November-ish. Yes, it's the beginning of November now. So let us roll a 1d6 and see what the temperature is like. That's a 3, so it's warm, about 15 degrees. Now, I don't know about you. In the UK, 15 degrees is not fucking warm. I'd be a bit nippy with that. So 50 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's just roll on the current conditions and actually remember to do that this time. We've got a 5, which is clear. Okay, so it's a clear night, which is alright. So there'll probably be like some sort of negative modifier because it's dark and shit, but not so much that it's going to be causing like other unpleasant environments. We arrive at the gates, and not too long ago, we were outside these very gates trying to work out how to get this media back. We've gone through the plan with like all these different docs about their ship noises, is perhaps the smell of the sea is up in the air sort of thing, and we all get out of the car, and I think as we're getting closer to it, like, he takes a big old fucking gulp. At any point has Butterjoy mentioned the complications of this? I don't remember if I identified this in the previous episode. I don't think it would have been mentioned here, but has he mentioned this at any point to them? That would complicate things a little bit. I actually think it's outright impossible, because he doesn't want to give them that level of leverage. I don't think that Kang Tao would have that access either. So let us roll a D100. But then again, he is stupid, so there's a small chance that he will just mention, hey guys. 72, which gives us... No, he has not mentioned that the Skivs and the other gang that's here want him dead. And I do not remember the name of the other gang, which is fine. If they come up during Oracle rolls and the like... that's when we'll include them. We're going to be focusing on the narrative, mainly on the Skivs. So, Satoshi and Alice and some other goons and whatnot are going to be heading off into the gates. And because we have actual access into, we're not having to break in or anything, they're going to open the gates. And this small group of people are going to be going off in one way, and we are going to be going off in another. And I imagine that the way this is going to pan out, if I was doing this as a games master for my players, I'd say that the main group is going to be going in first, and then we would be going in, like, sneaking around at a different point. So I'm actually going to employ a stealth roll for both these characters here. As everyone's going in, we just begin to go around the side and make sure that we don't get caught. Because it's dark... So let's look at the modifier examples. Poor lighting conditions is -1. Usually that would be done to our end result, but I'm actually going to do that to the difficulty. I imagine this will be quite populated at night, so it's going to be in between everyday and difficult, so it's going to be 14. And for us, that's not the best thing in the world, because we've got 11. But our Netrunner's combat number is 14, so they've got a bit more of a chance of doing this. So, let us roll to see if we can get my lucky number of 14. 6. That is good. We managed to get into, like, we sneak into, like, a warehouse sort of thing, like, I imagine it was sort of, like, holding onto swords. That's what will become a key part of our character here. Just, like, shuffling along, just, like, sliding against the corner of the wall, and just, like, peering around the side, and all fucking video gamey anime sort of style. Almost like seeing like the reticule like appear above their head sort of thing, waiting for the Netrunners to come across so we can like get, you know, jump on them if something bad happens. So they've got 14 already, so unless they get a 1, they got 4, 18, so they managed to sneak along. They've got their pistol drawn, ready to go, and we'll lean onto the side of the wall. Does this warehouse like have any sort of windows that we can just peer through? I'm gonna go with this 50-50. I can't see why there wouldn't be there. If they would be, they'd be like a little high up. So let's go with 50-50. Sneaking about in the warehouses. 9. 50-50 on 9, that's a no. So this warehouse does not have any windows. Follow-up question. Does this have anything that our Netrunner can hack into? Well, I suppose as we've gone off in a different direction, there's every chance that it could be. But I don't think that it would be like so close to everything. You know, so I'm actually going to say this is unlikely. So let us do a D1 roll again. That is 92. So that takes us up to, yes, it does have something that our Netrunner can hack into, which begs the question, what exactly can we have to turn against our advantage? And before I go any further, whilst it would make a lot of sense to employ like the actual net running rules here for the NPC, I'm not going to, just because I don't want to be focusing too much on the NPC's actions, and I want to keep the plot moving. Unless something inspires me to go down that particular rabbit hole, I'm just going to be answering the Netrunner stuff with either appropriate dice rolls or Oracle related stuff. So let us turn to the security related stuff in the core book and just roll on a table there to see if we can find anything. Okay, so I found various different tables I can roll upon. So before I get too into the nitty gritty of things, I think we need to decide, is there like any sort of automated security, like turrets and drones and that sort of thing that we can use to control the environment around us? It's likely, I suppose. Actually, no, with a hesitation there. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with 50-50 because you never fucking know. So, let us see if there are any defences or just cameras. So, we got 90... Yes, 93. So, that gives us... Yes, there are, like, some... Next question. Turrets or drones? Yes is going to be drones. That is 78. Which gives us... There are drones in here, and I'm only using that because there's a table here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to roll a d6 rather than pull out my weird-looking d5. Because if I roll a 6, I'm going to have 2 different drone types, but I'm not going to be so certain about that. So what have we got in here for them to do? So of course I rolled a fucking 6, so there's going to be 2 different types of drones in this warehouse. We've got a ground drone. I rolled a 2 again. So I'm actually just going to have that as like 2 ground drones, like at opposite ends of this warehouse walking together. They come in various forms, including a rolling ball, tracked, wheeled, or snake form. I imagined this, as I was saying, like some sort of like track thing, so that's what I'm going to do. Because I like the idea of all this like different machinery going on, and the drones would be like making a bit of a noise with their tracks rolling along. That there's sort of anybody who's like wanting to break in won't be able to hear the drones. They would see them first rather than hear them. I actually like the idea that they're going to have an SMG with bullets. I imagine this has a camera in it as well. I'm going to go with certain like security cameras, but it may not, because you know. Well, I'd imagine it. Yeah, I'm going to go with certain because there's going to be something important in here. That they're going to have 2 heavily armed ground fucking drones here. So 27, which gives us the result of yes with a complication. We're sort of like standing here looking around. Bulletjoy's come behind us. They're doing all that net running stuff and like see like their little goggles are like perhaps on the other side. They're like little lights peering through. It's like, Butterjoy, you see anything? I've tried accessing their security cameras, but I can't find anything within the architecture. The arca what? Shut up. Okay. So we're sort of looking around, making sure that we're not being interfered here. So we're not aware that there are drones in here at the moment. So they're going to be working on a bit more of that to try and work out what they need to do here. For their sake, to try to turn the cameras back on, I'm just going to roll on the combat number 14, and because I feel that it's going to be a bit difficult because it appears to be like broken or malfunctioning, so unless they get a 1, they should be able to do this. 9, okay, 23, it doesn't take them very long. I imagine that within the narrative, like, after the bullet just goes, oh, shut up, oh, I'm in, and then they turn the cameras back on. It's like, great, what do you see? There's drones here. It's heavily armed. Drones? You're not thinking of going in there, are we? No. Just give me a moment. I need to try and find out if there's like any systems or whatnot, if they've got any of the information that we need. Does this place have the information that it needs? I don't remember if I've answered this question already, but we're doing it now. I'm going to go with 50-50. Because there could be something here, but it might not be relevant to what we're looking for. 1. So that's a flat out no. This is not the sort of information that we're looking for. But to that end, what sort of information does it have here? Are there anything in the oracles? That's what I'm looking for. Developments on page 74 might be able to help us, or is that just going to refer to us to the beat fucking shit in the main book? It does refer to those. Okay, well, let's go with that and see if we can bullshit our way through this without going to the main book for inspiration. So, let's roll a D100. 82 gives us second chance. Which, from memory, is like... Actually, let's go to the book, actually, and find out exactly the meaning of that. This represents another crack at the problem. The Edge Runners have suffered a major setback in some way. Oh, that sounds fun. This development can be played to save a disintegrating game. Allies appear with new information. New clues are revealed. Okay, so it doesn't appear so at the moment. So it's like, oh, damn, we have to keep looking. Which makes me think that if Speed Bullet does a bit more investigation, it may all be connected up in like some sort of cloud service. So it's worth a chance, I think. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll in their combat number to work that out. If they don't succeed, the answer is no, they can't find anything. But if they roll a 1, the security alarms or whatever is going to go off, which I think is probably the best way of working this one out here. And if there isn't anything here that they can use, we'll move on to another warehouse, unless of course we get some sort. We get a 10 and it's like the information and something else. 2. I didn't assign what the difficulty was. I'd say it would be difficult. Yeah, let's go with difficult. 15 Okay, so so it is actually connected. So they're going to do a bit more investigation, like to try and find the information that they're looking for here, and we can bullshit and then we can use the oracles to work out what that sort of information is. So great, they're now going to be extracting the information, which is why we're here, and they're able to do so at the moment without drawing the attention. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but an idea that I had, that throughout all of this, we are having our cyber audio suite turned on, so we're recording stuff in a memory chip in our head at the moment. Well, we've ascertained we've got one in our fucking brain, so a memory chip in our brain, head, whatever, so that's what we're going to be doing here. So, sort of picking around and looking at things. I'm sort of bending the rules a little bit, because we sort of need additional cyberware for that, but just in this one instance, sort of looking around. First of all, is there anybody on patrol that may cause an issue for us? I think it's likely. And then we can ascertain the sort of people that it is. So, likely 47 gives us yes with a complication. Which, not only does that mean that there is somebody out and about, like it's a bit more than just like guard duty with a weapon or whatnot. There is somebody actively walking towards us. Question is, do we know that we're there? I think because of how well we're hidden, it's going to be unlikely, but it's not impossible. That is 42, which gives us no with a complication. So they haven't seen us, but they've seen something else. They're coming over here for a Okay, so I think in that sense that the complication being that they are coming this way because they probably because they suspect that something has been tripped somehow, like a little blip or something. And I think at that point we're holding onto our knife, like tightening the blade sort of thing. Like, I think you need to hurry up. There's something coming here. What? There's someone coming here. Get what you need. We need to move. Yeah, I'm stuck here. Let's get out of here. I can carry on doing this. So they can move and doing all the stuff. It's not like 2020 stuff where they have to be like rigged into place. They can move. They just have to be near in the vicinity. So they're going to be moving along stealthily and quickly, so they don't get seen. I'm not going to come up with a stat for this dude just yet. It's just really a matter of not being seen. So it's a -1 difficulty. We're going to use the same before of 14. So we're going to roll for us first. No, I'm going to roll for them first, partly because we went first last time, and also they're probably going to be on the move when we said that somebody's coming. So, so 14 plus 4 is an 18. We managed to get away into darkness, so they're not, actively following us. And now for us, which is the more problematic one, 10. Nice. So we got 26. So we very stealthily just sliver into the darkness like some fucking video game character, moving along. And I actually think, with this critical success, as it were, that we're able to move ourselves into a position, like a bit detached. This guy's obviously going to continue coming this way, but he just doesn't see us, and he's going to Bullet. It's like, Bullet, I can take him. I don't think he knows that I'm here. Will Bullet approve of this? I think being so focused on the mission and at hand, I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to let us do that. So, let's go for unlikely and see what they say. Fucking hell, 93, which takes us to yes. It's like, yeah, sure, take them out. There isn't like an assassination roll, as I've mentioned, so this is purely just going to be a melee weapon roll. If I succeed, I'm going to be able to take them out with the sword, like, through the shadows, like, slit the throat sort of thing. Really living out to the fucking weeaboo meme. Obviously, we'll see what's going on. Again, not doing any stats at the moment. This is just like a very simple assassination. Why did I do 100? But I'm going to accept that because it's a 6 there. We did that. Lovely stuff. So they're approaching to the darkness, and before they can move, like, stab them through the chest, cover their mouth, like, drag them down sort of thing, like, pull them into, like, a bush that's by the fence or whatever, like, making sure they're properly dead. Probably going to see if they've got anything on them that we can just take for ourselves, yet again. I'm going to go with Street Rap, because Edgerunner implies a different mindset to the gangster here. So let's roll a D100 and see what's on their person. So that is 23, which gives us a completely destroyed cred stick. Right, cool, fun. Now, that's like a bonus item, but I think they would have like a fucking gun on their person, like rifle sort of thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to give myself an assault rifle. I think that makes the logical sense to have. yeah, I'm going to give myself the assault rifle, which I don't have any skills for, but fuck it, why not? We've got this rifle, I imagine it's like a little sling sort of thing, we just like throw that over. How much ammo does this come with? I'm going to roll a D100 just to ascertain that. 85. Okay, well, makes sense that this is going to be fully loaded. Very generous as well. Thank you, dice gods here. Don't fuck me over now or fuck your mum. So, we now move over to Bulletspeed as they're tracking this information. They've tripped an alarm, but not enough to set over the drones that are rolling about on the ground. Just enough for, like, to blip up on like some security guard sort of thing. So we're going to be working at a bit for speed here, because it's like not the main system and they're doing it from like a separate architecture sort of thing. I don't think it works like that, but just narratively speaking, that's how we're just making sense of this. So I'm going to say this is difficult for them, just because of the circumstance, and they're just putting a bit more effort, like doing all the little fighting, like delving, all the rest of that. As I said, I'm just doing it with like a straight like combat number roll thing, just to keep the plot moving a bit more at this time. 10. That's 24. 4, 28. Yeah, they're able to pull down all that information in no time. Once they get through that immediate barrier, they just fucking penetrate that arsehole and just like take everything that they need. Which then begs the question, what's the sort of information that we are draining from them for you to hand over, or like to send over like an agent or whatever. And I know with the sheet I rolled up, they've got like one expensive cyborg. I imagine they've got like an internal agent as well, because I think that would make sense for a fucking test tube baby Netrunner, having that stuff like embedded into them just so they can just send that over straight away. We're going to use the verbs and noun stuff just to like build something from the ground up about the sort of information that we are retrieving from them, the dirt as it were on the skivs. So we start with the number 3, bluff, so bullshitting. 83, the noun is, if I can count, shotgun. Okay, so someone's been killed or framed to be killed, and the shotgun was like the murder weapon sort of thing. And 82 for the adjectives gives us severed. Maybe the skivs are getting their money, that they severed a tie with a corporation. I don't know much about the skivs, and from my understanding there's not much of an information that's provided on them. But the skivs are probably getting their money from a much higher source or whatever. Maybe they're being funded by Militech for something, and they severed ties by blowing out the competition with a shotgun, and that's not going to like put them in a good light, I suppose. You know, this big-ass gang isn't as big as powerful. They're the bitch to Militech sort of thing. But I'm going to roll on that a bit more, just to have a bit more meat to that, because I think that by itself isn't anything else. And also, with that crit, I think we will be able to find a bit more information. And something else, that's something else I will ascertain with an oracle roll in the moment. So yeah, let's roll on tables. 67, almost a nice number. Read, as in to read a book. 59, mask. Okay, interesting. So I'm getting like some sort of like talk conference thing, and dudes reading off of a script, and the skivs are masking as security. And 1 abstract. Okay, I think they get the information we just talked about the other way round. Like, they get this talk, like, is that the skiv serving security for Militech? And they dig a bit further, and then they find the severed ties and like bounds everything really nicely together. You know, wanting to cut ties with Militech, and it hasn't gone particularly well for them. But that bit of information just lying a bit there as well. Now, the other bit of information I wanted to ascertain, purely because I'm being a bit greedy and metagaming, are there any funds or money that Bulletspeed can pull from here? Probably for themselves, but I'm sure that they will just be open and honest enough to say the information that they've acquired to part of the team. Just thinking about the very routine militaristic sort of attitude that they've been essentially bred to uphold. So let's just do an oracle thing. Are there any money that they can pull from? I'm going to say likely, just from the perspective that they just got a 10/crit on that roll. So let's roll unlikely to see what we get. 15. No. Damn it! I could have done with a bit more money and a bit more greed, but we are being paid like 2k for this, so not the end of the world. And I think they're just sort of talking, mumbling to themselves. We find the broken cred stick. It's like, fuck. And Bullet is not aware of like happening. Okay, got it. What? Really? That was fucking quick. What'd you find? They were serving as minutes. They were serving as they're moving their goggles up. They were serving as bodyguards and Minitech at a conference. No fucking way. Yeah. Yes. They're sort of giving them a weird look, like, why would I lie about this sort of thing? But they tried to sever their ties, but there's just footage of it that just remained that I just found in their recycle bin. Wow. Did you find anything else? Like any money? No, I couldn't reach that far. And why would I be looking for money? We're trying to find information. Oh! No reason. I'm going to lie for that, because I think they just want to push with their curious nature a bit more. What would that be? I think that comes under persuasion. Yeah, go for persuasion. I'm going to say that this is difficult just because they're going to be more inquisitive and ask rather than Butterjoy's inability to lie. So let's say this is difficult. Not a terribly difficult thing for them. You never know. 1. Great. 2. Okay. Fantastic. 9. It's like, there's no reason. It's like, no. You're wanting to try and get more for money for yourself, weren't you? So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what you do as an edge runner. It's like you just reap some of the rewards. No, we were told to find the information. I wouldn't want to risk losing it all just because you got a bit greedy. Don't do that. That's not on. Alright. Sorry. You mean they don't let you take the spoils? No, they don't. Why would they do that? In my mind, I don't think Bulletspeed is like angry at them, but Butterjoy is like taking it as such because not used to the criticism, I guess. But Butterjoy is like very routine, you know, with that, like not wanting to break away from the mission. And I imagine with that, he's like cleaning off the blades, like, I'm sorry, it's just, you know, this is the first proper gig that I was on. I was a bit excited, and I just had hope that, you know, that we would just get some of the spoils ourselves, you know, because we make a good team together. I mean, I guess they're paying you more than they're paying me. Well, how much are they paying you? They're going to be paying me 2,000 eddies. They nod. Right. They are paying you, right? You seem pretty unbothered by this. Are they paying them? I think as the test tube baby, they won't be paying them all that much, but I'll go with unlikely rather than just outright saying it. 86. Yeah, they do pay me. Why wouldn't they be paying me? I don't know, I don't know. It just seemed a bit weird that you just wouldn't want more money. And they just don't know how to respond to that. They just sort of like shrug or anything. It's like, well, where do you live? Like, what's your crib like? I'm assuming that they live with the company, and I think they're just going to outright say that I live in their facilities. They provide me everything that I need and pay me, and I have an allowance, and they just sort of like go off on a little topic like that. It's like, wow, that's fucked up. What? That's fucked up. They're keeping you there and it's just using you for missions. How much, like, don't you think that's just a bit weird? Why would I find it weird? That's the life that I have. It would be weird to think to live differently just because I'm so used to living it like this. Well, what's your life like? Well, I'll tell you now, I'm not privileged enough to live in a big company penthouse. And I think that's the assumption that he's making, that they live in a big old apartment rather than actually within like the company borders itself, like the very underground sort of thing. And he would like talk a little bit, say the shithole that he lives in. Like, you live in a tube? Yeah, essentially. I can barely make ends meet. I've got barely any money. Can I move into your place? It sounds a lot nicer than mine. It's just out, like, more of desperation than anything now. I said, oh no, I don't think Satoshi would like that very much. Why would Satoshi have a problem moving into it? It's your apartment. It's not my apartment. It's not my penthouse. And I think they break it up like that because they just don't fucking know. It's one of their facilities. Where they actually keep you within the company buildings. You don't even have a house of your own. You don't have somewhere of your own. I have my own room. your own room. And I think he raises his voice a little bit. Is there anybody about who may well hear that in a rather comedic fashion as Butterjoy that tells him to shut the fuck up? I'll go with 50-50. 85. Sorry, 58. 58. I've got them the wrong way around. 58. Yes, with a complication. And Butterjoy's like, oh, keep your voice down. And the question is like, yes, with a complication. See, because in my mind, a flat out yes is that somebody would be like coming over. But complication makes me think that something else is happening. But what? Let's go with a verb, as those are doing words. 37 gives us fly. So it's not a person. It's a drone. There's a drone that flies overhead, maybe like a bit of a light and a camera sort of thing. Well, I think this is going to be a mini air drone. I'm actually going to use that 17 as a difficulty ring to try and hide from it, because I imagine this camera might have like a bit of a light on it as well, which makes things a bit more spicy for us, so we have to use stealth again to quickly hide into place. I imagine we were beginning to approach each other a bit of this conversation, and now with this camera, this drone that's overhead, we have to like move away into the darkness to make sure that we don't get seen again. So I'm going to go first, as I was the one that was making noise. So we moved into complete darkness, but it's going to be countered a little bit by this light that's pointing down. And I've just seen the modifier task executed by smoke darkness, which is -4. I'm going to make that -2 for us, for the camera to beam down, and it's going to be the same. Yeah, a bit spicy this one, so it's going to be -2 to whatever we roll rather than difficulty. We've been using difficult for this so far, so that's what we're going to be doing. Oh boy, I'm not going to be enjoying this one very much. 3 takes us up to 14. So take 2 is 12. So we may have been spotted here. I might just like using the rule of cool a little bit, because it's not that far over that maybe there's like a foot out in the way or something that is going to require to investigate a lot more. But let's see what Bulletspeed does. Hopefully they have a bit more luck than we do. They got 8, so they managed to like get away. But maybe like there's like a rustling of the trees or whatever, or the bush rather, that we were in. Okay, idea. This could be the body that we have just killed, rather than us. Like we didn't do a good job of hiding it. So that's the thing for the Oracle. Have they seen the body or have they seen us? I think that we have just been real fucking clumsy about killing off this guard, and like his foot's poking out or whatever. And then just hope that we don't get seen in the midst of it as well. So, let us go with... I think it's likely, get the other D10 there, that it's the guy that we've just killed. And the rifle we've just taken. 32, which gives us... It's complicated. I'm guessing both with that. That's the complication, because we know we have been spotted, and it has identified multiple parties there. So, this thing is beginning to fly down a little bit. And I think... we're like beginning to like move back in the thing as we're like our hearts in our throat. Oh god, we're just about to get caught. I'm just about to blow everything up. I can't move the body out of the way, otherwise it's going to let us know that it's there. So this is just coming down to investigate a bit of a closer look at the situation. But remember, we have a Netrunner who could hack this thing. So they're going to put the goggles back on their head to enter back into the architecture, and they are going to attempt to hack the mini drone. Now that is a DV17 with their control thing. There's a proper hacking thing in here. But I'm just going to do that to try and hack the drone via them. Again, I'm not just doing it with the combat number just to speed things up, and I can't quite be fucking bothered. So, let's fucking hack shit. 8! They're on fire. I can't do the math, but that beats it by some amount. So this thing is flying down. Maybe, I imagine this drone has got like different light states. Like, it was green flying over, and then as it detected something in the light, it then becomes yellow as it's like investigating. And then as it's getting a bit closer, the light turns green again. And Butterjoy is looking up at this thing terrified, look a bit confused. And he like looks around and sees that, like, using the cyber deck, whatever, Butterjoy's like... And Butterjoy like pokes his head out of the bush and just talking like, is it safe? And I don't think Butterjoy responds to the word, because they just give a thumbs up and like, oh fuck. They're coming out of the bush, and Butterjoy's like, hide the bodies. Oh, right, fuck, sorry. He pulls the thing back into the bush, then comes me out of the bush, and they're wondering, okay, how long is that you're going to be controlling it? As long as I'm accessing the architecture. That's great. I mean, you could use that to fly that thing around and find out what's going on, to see what's going on. Like, how safe we are. That's exactly what I was going to do. And I like typing away on the cyber deck, flying up. I think we should try and work out exactly what is it that we're seeing. And I think there's this whole sites table here. Sites 37. We can use that as some inspiration here. Sights and sounds. We'll roll on both of them actually to see the general demeanour of the Heywood dogs. 90 exactly for the sounds. A corporate tower shrouded in storm clouds. I'm envisioning this like a taller building within the docks rather than like this weird ass fucking tower just like poking out of things. Probably like the main office block, as it were, where the executive is based. But what about sounds? 5. A faint hum of a distant generator, and I think like the humming of the generator is from like the droid itself, that Bulletspeed is able to hear this thing as it's like floating upwards a little. But from that impression, I'm not seeing a lot of activity, I guess. But let's ask the Oracle: is there a lot of like body-based activity? Like, is there a lot of movement, like people out and about, which might also help me ascertain like the actual conversation that's going on? So we're going to likely for this. 74 gives us... Yes, there's actually quite a bit of body activity going on. Oh. No, we're doing likely to see if there wasn't shit going on. So, no, there isn't a lot of things going on. Okay, fuel. With the drone, I think it will make a lot of sense because we've hacked into this architecture, and because of how well they did, they were able to move on to the correct hangar that had all the information there. They would be able to explore more of the warehouse rather than just this area, because I'm imagining it, from how I've presented things with my bullshitting, that these different warehouses have their own separate architecture that are connected to the main one within the main building. But there's like some security put in place like to stop netrunners and hackers like connecting everything together, which would also limit the movement and the activity to the drones and whatever. But because we have now access to the fuller amount, it would make a lot of sense to... I'm not even going to use the Oracle for that, that we're able to move over in a fashion and just like peer through the hangar to where the main conversation's going on. Like the conversation between the Skivs and the Kang Tao. And I think throughout all of this, that information regarding the Militech buying out this gang, as it were, is being sent over to them. So I actually want to use the standard oracles, the verbs, nouns, and adjectives, to try and get an idea about the general vibe and feelings that's going on over there. So let us start with the verbs. Free, bluff, yet again. Which immediately makes me think at this point that we won't be able to hear the shit though, would we? You know what, I'm going to bullshit this a little bit, because we managed to access the other architectures. I think Bulletspeed is able to hear stuff that's going on with like the other cameras in here. I think at this point this is coming to where they have this information and this gives like, oh, you're lying or bullshit, you've got no fucking proof of that. But let's move on to the nouns to move the conversation forward a little bit. Cargo container. The bodies have been left in the cargo. So this severing of the ties, as it were, has happened fairly recently, and they know where the body's being kept. And adjectives of 62. Glance us the word old. Tale as old as time, etc. Not really doing much. And I think at this point, the Kang Tao actually would like to move in and make a proper move, like bringing over the media. Which we haven't been able to save here. Huh. Because I remember that was part of what we want to do, because we know that the media is the bargaining chip, but they don't want them. They just want the information they have regarding the talk, because they got something about that information that's going to throw them under. I completely forgot about that part of the mission. Well, our personal side quest within that mission, or objective, as it were. I believe that Bulletspeed's like narrating bits of this in like broken, segmented words. Like they mentioned the media, who is TarotGlow, that's the name, and that again, like myself, makes Butterjoy remember, oh shit, they're gonna kill them, and they might need to do something about that. But I think within this conversation, it's going to be suggested that Kang Tao move in to take over operations. They'll keep the information quiet, providing they take over. And I think this can go one of two ways now. I think that the Skivs may want to keep up their reputation, as it were, the reputation they've established, but they may want to go down in a whole ball of fire and glory sort of thing. So I'm actually doing this 50-50, where yes, they will relinquish their power and give up Heywood in exchange to keep all this under the quiet hand over the media, and no, they're going to go down in a ball of fire and glory. So let's see what happens here. 89 for 50-50 gets us yes. They're just going to give up everything because that's how important their reputation is, that they're just going to... They realise that they can't do much against a big-ass company, and Arasaka and the like are moving in. Does Kang Tao mention Arasaka at all during all of this? I don't think they will do, because they're trying to keep all that hush-hush. I'm going to do that as impossible. 86, which gives us complicated. So rather yes than not yes and no, but I think that it might be like something that the Skivs are throwing out at some point. It's like, there's no way that you can have the fucking strong arms to move in this. Who are fucking founding you, like Arasaka? And I think that's all cogs are rolling in the back of their Butterjoy's head a little bit. And that's where things are going to go down, and that's, I think they're not going to disconnect, but they're going to be like moving the drawer and like maybe like self-destruct it somewhere, that sort of thing. It's like, but we need to go and get we need to go and get TarotGlow. It's like, who? TarotGlow, the media, the one they came here for. We need to go and save them. It's like, save them? What? Why? We were meant to collect the media. Do you even know what they're here for? Do they know what they're here for? Because they talked over the general plans as we moved over here, but they may not necessarily diverge into the specifics. I think Satoshi would have kept very fucking tight-lipped about that, honestly. Just to keep things at bare minimum. Oh, we're going to go and collect this party who's got information. So 16 is no, they did not. So if they kept they've kept very tight-lipped about that, like Butterjoy's going to come over to them again, like real fucking close and whispering. Think about that. They've got news and information about them. Why would Kang Tao care so much about somebody that's got news about them if they weren't going to harm them or kill them in one way or another? They're just here for the information. I think at this point, like, maybe Butterjoy is beginning to realise or infer that they're kind of sheltered. Don't you think that's not right? Like, they're just a news reporter just doing their job, and now they're going to, like, steal their job and their money away and, like, maybe even kill them. It's like, you don't know that they're going to kill them. I do. He told me. Satoshi told me in the hospital. He told you, but he didn't say. No, because he wants you to work for them. They don't want you to have an opinion. They don't want you to fight back. You're really good at what you do. And they're scared of you. Look, we don't have time for this. Come on, you need to help me rescue them before it gets hurt. And of course, Butterjoy is doing this from two different narratives here. Like, yes, everything they're saying may well be true, but they're also doing it from the point that they've got that fucking footage of them they want for their EP. So really fucking selfish reasons. But I do think there is an element of them, even with their reduced humanity, that they're not totally detached from everything, that what's about to happen is going to be very fucking wrong. What I'll do the Oracle roll to determine their emotional being, and then I'll do the persuasion roll to reflect them and set the difficulty to depending on that. So that is 65, which gives us yes. So I think they're very surprised about this, but there's also that element of it being risking the whole operation, you know, just going against the whole money thing that we just had. So persuasion, I'm going to say that yes, they are. So with that all in mind, I'm going to make this the difficult, I'm going to make this the DV rating of 14, just because that's been the lucky number so far. Persuasion, is the right one here? Yeah, I think that's the best one. I can't think of anything else that would come into this, I suppose. It's like persuading them to go and help. So yeah, we need 14, so come on, you can't let me down here, Butterjoy. That did not hit the tray, so that does not count. 5. Yes! 16. And I think, it's like, okay. One moment. And they put on the goggles again, still hacked in, because they destroyed the drones, I couldn't do that again. So I'm going to do, again, just running on the thing here. As they have access to it now, they still have access to things, I'm going to say that this is going to be a 13, just to control some of the... I'm guessing this is the main warehouse now. So this might have like some turrets in place, I wonder. In place defenses, automated turrets. Yeah, let's say there's some turrets. How many of those are in here? I'm going to roll a d6 because I think that'd be fun to spice things up a lot. 3, so they're 3 turrets. I imagine there's like 1 on the ceiling and like 2 on opposite ends of the room sort of thing that's going to trigger if we can successfully hack this. 7. I didn't do the... We said it was every day, so yeah, they managed to get the thing going. Like, what are you doing? Shh. And they stop and listen. Maybe there's a bit of the wind and the hums of the generators and whatnot. And all of a sudden, the fucking gunfire that happens in the next room. What the fuck? Go. What? The turrets are firing at the Skivs and Kang Tao. Go and get TarotGlow. Oh shit! And they sort of begin to run off immediately, like running through the grounds, all these turrets going off. I imagine there's other gangs like wanting to come in from the all sides into the warehouse. And I'm going to do a melee weapon here, because I imagine they're going to be coming out at different sides as well. I'm going to do a melee weapon roll, just so we can just like slash anybody that gets in our way. Actually, I'm going to do an oracle thing. Does anybody get in our way as we're pegging it over to the fucking warehouse? And also, we're not going to get paid for this, as we're sort of like fucking killing everyone now. Although I've just had an idea. So yeah, let's do an oracle roll. Does anybody get in our way? Let's see what fucking happens. I think it's likely we're going to see somebody at one point, like 76. Yeah, that's a yes. Okay, I just had to be certain about that. So they'll probably be coming on, and I'm doing this just so we can, like, fucking slash at people that come in and... Fucking... Let's fucking go! Bam! Of course we succeeded. I don't think enough time's passed for us to be shot at or whatever. And then we come to the door, and because of how well that we've been running, I think we're going to do, like, another slash, like, holding us sort of, like, running in a bit more. Fucking bullets everywhere, turrets, probably at fire at this point. I need to work out, has TarotGlow been hit or taken hostage or whatever? Basically, is TarotGlow okay? Let's just roll on that complication, oracle stuff. With so much fucking gunfight, I think it's likely that they have probably been shot at something, and if we can see what the complication is, because I do not want to kill them. I would prefer it if they did not die here, but who fucking knows? 82, are they okay with likely... have they been... yeah, are they okay? Likely they've been shot. They're fine. Take under cover or whatever. But do we see them? Are they visible to us? We don't even... We do know what they look like, because the fixer who died in the first fucking episode gave us a description. We know who we're looking for. Can we see them? With everything going on, I think that is likely. And because they are fine, I don't think they've been taken hostage. So let's just roll on that. This has all gone terribly wrong. I think because they're hiding, I think it's actually likely that they're just... We can't see them. So it's 25, which gives us no with a complication. We cannot see them. You see, the complication implies it's just a bit more than hiding, which now makes me think they've been taken a fucking hostage, right? So, like, they've, like, Satoshi or whatever has got them in a fucking headlock. And I don't think enough time for, like, past them to completely escape the building. Okay, so... do this as 50-50. Yes means they've been taken hostage. No means they fucking booked it. 87... they've been taken hostage, which is a yes. Great. Sorry, that was 78. 78 for 50-50 is... oh, that's still yes. Never mind. They've been taken hostage, and I don't... if they've been taken hostage by Satoshi, they're being dragged out, I think there's a chance for us to have a look around to see if we can see them. Now, this is a perception roll, which isn't great for us. I think narratively it makes sense that we have been exchanged details on agents in case we're separated and be kept into loop with everything, right? But we have Satoshi. So Satoshi has our number, for better or for worse. The executive has our number. Actually, is the executive dead or alive? Because I think just... I know there's the executive role within Cyberpunk, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're like a weak fucking sponge, but I'm assuming that they are a weak fucking sponge. So I'm going to say likely that they've hit the fucking bucket. 53 gives us the result of yes with a complication. So they've been killed. I mean, it's going to be complicated for us, I guess, because this mission has gone completely tits up. What would a complication in that? We killed them. We came in all like fucking slashing our swords about, and we came into the door not really paying fucking attention to who or what we were hitting. And probably the executive has come running out, and we just fucking lobbed her fucking head off and now started looking for the media. So, going back to that perception roll, which may play into what happens next, I'm going to say that was a -1, which isn't great for us. And with everything that's going around, it's going to be 15. I'm going to spend 5 points of luck into this. That's all bar 1 of my luck points, but I want 1 left over. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Still not enough, so I basically need to get 2 and higher. So 4. That did the trick. Okay, so we're looking around frantically, and we see Satoshi is like pulling them back in a fucking headlock. At that point, we're just gonna I'm not even gonna get out of the gun. We're in fucking like anime mode here, like running over with our sword. It's like Satoshi, and I think he's gonna like go with a handgun and shoot. I'm not gonna do initiative for this. We're running closer, but I think as we're running closer with the pistol, I'm gonna say this is the DV grouping of like 7 to 12 meters. Where they're shooting with a pistol. We can't dodge this because we don't have a reflex of 8, so this would be a good point to actually work out some fucking stats for them as we sort of enter a combat scenario here, where I should be able to go pretty neatly to my solo quick hack method. Are you having a fucking giggle? Are you telling me that I spent a good fucking hour gutting my old GM book, reorganizing everything into this one, and the one thing that I didn't fucking print out were my fucking solo rules, my quick NPC method. Wow, what a fucking idiot. So I've rolled up stats for Satoshi now, and I've also done some from TarotGlow because I feel that's going to be pretty useful in just a moment. So Satoshi with the pistol is going to be shooting at us. We're about 7 meters away, 7 to 12, I guess. We're running over with our pistol drawn. It's very fucking clear what we're going to be doing now. So bot with a pistol. Let's see what the numbers tell us. His combat number is 13. He's looking for a D3 of 15. Let's glock a clock. That is 6 plus 13 is 19. So that hits. He's got a pistol. Heavy or medium? I think it's going to be medium because he just seems a bit of a fucking pushover. 2d6, it's got a rate of fire of 2. That does nothing because our SP for body is 8 because that's been reduced because of the encounter with our family. So we get shot, nothing with that one. And 3, 8 exactly. Which doesn't do anything either because it has to be above the SP. So that doesn't actually hurt us. Well, it does hurt us in the sense we're going to get some pretty nasty bruises, but we're not losing any HP. That is really fucking lucky, but now we're running in fucking anime hero mode. The sword is drawn yet again as we're going to go and fucking aim for the head. I'm not really seeing anything that should make this a difficult thing for me, because now he's speaking, he's got the choke log, he's shooting, he's walking backwards, shooting. We're coming in with a head shot with the sword. So really he can't avoid this. So he's not seen as cover, he can't dodge because he's already moving backwards. The head is right fucking there, so it's really the only place that it can hit him. So does that actually make that an aimed shot if the only place I can hit him is the head? Because he's not longer seen in cover? No, I don't think so. With all of this in mind, I don't know how much of this is a hand wavy thing. I'm just really trying to think about what makes narrative sense here. I'm going to say that this is going to be a simple difficulty of 9. And I've already spent the luck points, so I'm not going to retcon that, but just to be certain, you know. So yeah, let's fucking roll the dice and hope that I don't get a 1. Got a 3, which is more than enough. But we go into the sword. Bam! Oh, I misread that. Multiply damage that penetrates head armor by 2. Yes, ignore half the armor, but the headshots do double damage. Gotcha. Okay, I think I've got this now. Maths is hard. So, what is the dice I'm using for that? 3d6. Hopefully we can penetrate the armor. Oh, that's nice. We got 6 and 5, which is 11, and 3, which is 14. So I'm going to try and do the maths of this now, and I'm probably going to do something wrong because, as I've already said, maths is not my strong point. I think it makes a lot of sense that with this battle cry of Satoshi, just stabs him through the fucking head. TarotGlow, who just sort of yells and like, as this blade has gone through their fucking head, like the captor's head, like really fucking close. The body sort of slumps, like, come on, we gotta go. He pulls the thing out as the body drops, grabs Taro's arms, like, hand, like, haphazardly. Come on, we've got to get out of here. And they're pegging it out of the warehouse as fast as they can with all the damage and shit that's going on. And I'm actually going to roll one more thing, evasion, to see if we get shot at, like with all the different bullets and whatnot, the skivs and whatever. I'm going to say this is a simple thing to beat because Kang Tao, security, and skivs are all fighting at each other in like this big old war that's come through a fucking head. And I'm just going to treat this as like off bullets rather than being specifically shot at. Unless we get a 1 and then we're being targeted, and that's going to make things a whole load fucking different. So, unless we get a 1, we fucking got this. 16. I'm going to do it the same for TarotGlow, whose combat number is 6, which isn't fantastic for them. This is actually really fucking wank. So yeah, but they only need 3 and higher to beat it, so 7. Okay, we managed to get out in a blaze of ball and glory. It's like turrets, things and whatnot. Everyone's running in. I don't think at this point that we're being focused at, because that's what we're doing for the invasion. Holding their hand. I think the Tower Point Sunlight just runs away. We're all running it back. We get caught off by Bulletspeed. Like, go with them, and they're running after them. Get in the car. Let's get the fuck out of here. And they all hop in, turn and speed, and drive off into the fucking night. And that is where we're going to conclude the session and try and work out what the fuck's going to happen next in the next episode. This one is a lot longer, I feel, than the ones we've done so far. They've all been sitting around the hour, but I've been recording these in bits, and like the main bulk of this has been like an hour and 15 minutes recording, so I've got no idea how long this is going to be when I get around to editing this. Man, that was so much fun. Wow, that's amazing. It's just like, you know, it just goes to show that even if with these really simple NPC stats and like the solar pay, you can have so much fun. I hope that's been coming through with all of this. Like just like a half page of stats to some characters. Like, you can do so much with it. And, you know, Satoshi is dead. We killed Satoshi. We've killed some security guards. We rescued TarotGlow at long last, and it's going to be a very interesting conversation to see whether they're going to infer we survive this. We're going to have to do with the whole fucking Bulletspeed now, because we've sort of kidnapped them. Fuck, I've just realised we've kidnapped one person, we saved another one. Kang Tao is going to be hot on our fucking necks now, but with everything going up in a ball of fucking flames, it's quite possible that they won't be able to pick up the trace. But hopefully we can try and find out what the fuck is going on and how we can progress with this story. And we managed to survive, took no fucking damage. We're going to have some like fucking bruising because we've been shot at, of course, but wow, that was so fucking cool. Real fucking badass moment with the Butterjoy, who hasn't used a fucking gun yet. They've acquired grenades and they've got a fucking assault rifle. That was so much fun, and I can't wait to record the next part. So yeah, again, I've got to give a load of thanks to Artelstone Games for giving me a review copy of the single player roles, and you can have so much fun with this and more by purchasing this for your drive-through RPG. Check out in the link in the description below. It's an affiliate link, because if you purchase with that link, I get some of the money back, so I'm able to do more cool shit like this, and so much fucking more. And this is also part of a very nice gift where they basically have sent me every single fucking 2020 book that they own. So again, thank you so much. Check out the link in the description below, because we've got all sorts of Cyberpunk shit down there below. Yeah, wow. Yeah, tune in next time and we'll try and work out what the fuck's going to happen next, because I don't fucking know. And that's why I love doing this so much, because it's just like riding on the seat of my fucking pants so much, and it's so fucking cyberpunk. Like, tune in next time. Until next time, farewell, Tune.